I sabotaged my own relationship with surgical precision, and everyone thinks I'm just bitter about losing. That's the part that makes me want to scream. They've got it backwards, and I can't correct them without exposing something worse than jealousy. I orchestrated this entire catastrophe, and the worst part is I actually believed my own performance until the blocks started rolling in. My reputation as an influencer was built on authenticity, and now every partnership I've ever had is circling the drain because of what I did to Jake. My best friend of 10 years won't return my calls. My mother left me a voicemail saying she's disappointed in the woman I've become. They all think I'm throwing a tantrum because my ex upgraded to a Victoria's Secret model. But the truth is I manufactured his upgrade, and I was the one who got downgraded to a cautionary tale. By the time I finish explaining what really happened, the specific DM I sent, the account I created, the lie I told when I said I was out of his league, you'll understand why being blocked was actually the most merciful thing he could have done. I started my Instagram account in college as a joke. Just another sorority girl posting brunch photos and bikini pics from spring break, except something clicked. By 24, I had 200,000 followers and brands paying me more per post than my father made in a month. Jake entered my life right when the numbers started climbing. He was a software engineer who still used a flip phone and thought influencer was a made-up word for unemployed. He made me feel grounded when the DMs from verified accounts started flooding in. What nobody understands is how addictive the validation becomes. Each notification releases something chemical, and after a while, real life feels muted compared to the high of a post going viral. Jake would take me to these quiet dinners where he'd talk about his code, and I'd nod while mentally calculating engagement rates. I started noticing the disparity, my followers commenting fire emojis under my photos, while he wore the same hoodie 3 days in a row. The first hint something was cracking inside me happened during a sponsored trip to Tulum. I posted a photo in a thong bikini that got 3 million views, and when Jake called to ask about my day, I felt actual resentment that he wasn't impressed enough. The second hint came when a talent scout from a major agency slid into my DMs. Not a bot, a real guy with a blue checkmark and connections to actual models. He said I had commercial potential, and asked if I'd considered moving to New York. I screenshotted that message and stared at it for an hour while Jake slept next to me, his mouth open, completely oblivious to the fact that my world was expanding while his stayed the same size. The small decision that started the avalanche was posting a story with the caption, "Leveling up," while sitting on our thrift store couch. Jake asked what it meant, and I just smiled. That night, I created a folder on my phone labeled Future and started saving screenshots of luxury apartments and designer bags. I began responding to the scout's messages during Jake's gaming sessions, when he'd be too absorbed in his screen to notice mine. The conversations started professional portfolio reviews, industry talk, but gradually shifted personal. He'd compliment my drive and aesthetic, words Jake had never used. I told myself it was networking, that I was building connections for my career, but I knew the truth when I started deleting our chat history every night. The first small consequence hit when Jake tried to show me a meme and I snatched my phone away. Privacy, I snapped, a word we'd never needed before. He looked hurt but apologized, which only made me angrier. That anger felt like power, and I leaned into it. I started posting more provocative content, lingerie shots, implied nudity, captions about knowing your worth. The scout loved it. Jake didn't say anything, but I caught him scrolling through my feed with a confused expression, like he didn't recognize the person I'd become. My best friend Sarah took me to coffee and asked point-blank if I was happy. I laughed and showed her my follower count, which had jumped 50,000 since I started the new direction. She stared at me with that look she gets when she's worried, and I felt a flicker of shame that I immediately doused with defensive pride. You wouldn't understand, I told her. This is my career now. The truth bomb dropped on a Tuesday. The scout asked if I wanted to meet for drinks at a rooftop bar downtown just to discuss a potential campaign. I said yes without thinking, then spent 3 hours trying on outfits while Jake worked late. When I walked into that bar, I didn't find a talent scout. I found a college kid using someone else's photos, a catfish with a fake blue checkmark he'd bought online. The humiliation was so complete I couldn't even process it. I left after 10 minutes, but not before he'd taken a photo of me looking disappointed, which he later used to blackmail me. Jake found the messages first, not the ones with the fake scout. I deleted those, but the ones where I'd told Sarah I was settling and could do so much better. He'd borrowed my laptop to fix a bug and my iMessages had synced. I walked into our apartment to find him sitting in the dark, my words glowing on the screen. "You think you're too good for me?" he asked, his voice flat. I could have apologized, could have explained the insecurity and the pressure and how lost I'd become. Instead, I doubled down. "I'm building something, Jake, something bigger than this apartment. And yes, sometimes I feel like I'm outgrowing." I gestured between us. "This." The specific detail I hid was that I'd already contacted a realtor about a studio in Manhattan. I had the deposit saved from brand deals Jake knew nothing about. While he was processing my betrayal, I was already mentally moved out. Sarah saw me leaving the catfish meeting. She called that night, but I let it go to voicemail. Her message said, "I saw you downtown. We need to talk about what you're doing to yourself." I deleted it and blocked her number for 6 hours, just to feel like I was in control. Jake moved out while I was at a photo shoot. He left a note that said, "I hope you find what you're looking for." I posted a selfie that night with the caption, "New Beginnings," and watched the likes pour in. The blackmail started 3 days later. The catfish wanted $5,000 or he'd tell my followers I'd been catfished. I paid him, thinking that was the end of it. My first attempt to fix things was a disaster. I tried to create a narrative that Jake had been holding me back, that he'd been controlling and unsupportive. I posted stories about toxic relationships and finding your power. The comments were supportive, validating. I felt vindicated until I saw Jake had started dating someone new, a real someone, not the model I'd eventually invent. The situation spiraled when I created a fake Instagram account to stalk them. I told myself it was just to see what she looked like, but within a week I was leaving comments on her photos. "He'll cheat on you too. You're just a rebound." She was a normal woman, a teacher, pretty in an unpolished way. I felt actual rage that Jake had moved on with someone so basic. That's when I made my worst decision yet. I hired a struggling actress from Craigslist to pose as Jake's new girlfriend. We staged photos at a restaurant, her hanging on his arm, them laughing. I had a friend take the shots from across the room. I posted them with the caption, "Karma works fast," and watched my followers turn on Jake. The post went viral. News outlets picked up the story, "Influencer exposed as cheater." Jake's LinkedIn was flooded with negative reviews. He lost his job. What I didn't know was that Jake had recognized the actress from a commercial. He'd gone along with it, pretending not to notice the camera, because he'd already contacted a lawyer. The breadcrumb I'd dropped was a DM I'd sent to the actress from my main account instead of the fake one, asking if she'd gotten the shots. Jake's lawyer screenshotted everything. The breaking point came when I saw a photo of Jake with an actual model, not my actress, a woman with 2 million followers and a Maybelline contract. They'd met at a tech event, apparently. She posted a story of them hiking, his face relaxed in a way I'd never seen. I was blocked within hours of liking the photo. I created 3 fake accounts to circumvent the block. I told myself I just wanted closure, but I was leaving comments on her posts, "He'll use you. You're the other woman." My behavior became so unhinged that even my most loyal followers started calling me out. I posted a tearful video about betrayal that got ratioed into oblivion. Sarah showed up at my apartment with her husband, a lawyer. "You need to stop," she said. "Jake's new girlfriend is filing a harassment suit." "And I know about the catfish. I know about the actress. I know everything." I slammed the door in her face, then cried for 3 hours while refreshing their hiking photo. My support system crumbled when my manager called. Brands are pulling out. They don't want to associate with someone who's doxing private citizens. I hadn't doxed anyone, but the actress had posted my messages publicly, and the narrative had twisted. I was now the crazy ex who faked her own breakup for clout. The model got hurt when someone, not me, but I know who posted her home address in my comment section. She had to move. Jake texted me from a new number, "This is what you wanted, right? For me to be the villain? Congratulations, you've ruined 3 lives." I responded with a heart emoji, then threw my phone at the wall. The direct question came during the restraining order hearing. Jake's lawyer asked, "Ms. Chen, did you or did you not create a fake Talent Scout account to entrap Mr. Miller?" I pled the fifth, but my face gave everything away. The judge granted the order. I was legally prohibited from mentioning Jake or his girlfriend online. The setup for the biggest revelation happened when I got home and found Sarah waiting. "I need to tell you something," she said, "and you're not going to like it." The full confession begins with a password. Hot for You 2021, the login for the fake Talent Scout account. I'd created it in March, 2 months before I ever met the real model Scout. The entire thing was a test I designed to see if Jake would notice me pulling away. I wanted him to fight for me, to prove I was worth the effort. When he didn't, when he just gave me space and trusted me, I took it as confirmation that he didn't care enough. The most damning detail revealed at 72, I didn't just create the account. I used it to talk to myself. I sent messages from the Scout praising my own photos, building up this fantasy that I was destined for bigger things. I was both puppet and puppeteer, and I got so deep into the performance that I started believing there was a real person on the other end. When the catfish contacted me, I thought he was the original Scout. I'd been catfishing myself for months. The first major consequence hit when Sarah pulled out her phone. I knew about the account because you used my email to verify it. You forgot I set up your old laptop. I've been getting notifications for a year. She'd watched me destroy my relationship in real time, watching me talk to myself, and never intervened because she thought it was a creative project. The final shoe dropped when she showed me the last message I'd sent from the fake account to Jake. 2 days before I told him I was too hot for him, I'd written, "Your girlfriend has real potential. You should support her more or someone else will." I'd forgot. In my twisted logic, I was giving him a chance to step up. When he didn't respond the way I wanted, when he didn't become jealous or possessive, I punished him for it. The aftermath spread through my life like a virus. My follower count dropped below 50,000. Sponsorship deals I'd spent years building evaporated overnight. I had to move back into my parents' house in the suburbs, where my mother left self-help books about pathological lying on my nightstand. The model Jake is now engaged to never press charges, but she posted a statement about online abuse that tagged me indirectly. The comments section became a graveyard of my former fans calling me a sociopath. What I didn't anticipate was the real talent scout who finally contacted me, after everything, saying they'd seen my work and weren't interested. "Your brand is too toxic," the email read. I'd destroyed the very thing I was trying to protect. The moment of genuine self-awareness broke through at 3 a.m, 6 months after the restraining order. I was scrolling through Jake's fiancée's feed, not from a fake account, just looking because I couldn't help myself, and I saw a photo of them at a farmer's market. Jake was holding a bag of vegetables and laughing at something she said. He looked exactly the same as he had with me, except his eyes were relaxed. He hadn't upgraded. He just found someone who didn't make him feel like a supporting character in his own life. My current state is this: I work at a coffee shop where no one recognizes me. I deleted all my social media. Sarah sends me a text on my birthday that just says, "Thinking of you," which is more kindness than I deserve. Jake's wedding website is password protected, but I know the date because his sister still has a public profile. I check it once a week, not to disrupt anything, but as a form of self-flagellation. I'm telling this story now because yesterday I saw a TikTok of a girl creating a fake account to test her boyfriend, and the comments were full of people calling it genius. It has 2 million likes. I wanted to comment to warn her, but I have no accounts left to comment from. So I'm writing this instead, on a blank document that will probably never be read, because I need someone to understand that the test was never about him. It was about whether I could be enough for the person I was pretending to be. The lesson I learned, imperfectly and too late, is that you can't build a real life on performance metrics. Jake wasn't holding me back, he was holding me together, while I tore myself apart for an audience that was never really watching. And yes, I told him I was too hot for him. I said it while wearing a $200 face cream, sitting in an apartment I could only afford because of brand deals I got from posting photos he took of me. The irony is so thick you could choke on it. If you want to judge me, go ahead. I do, every day, in every quiet moment when I'm not performing for anyone because there's no one left to perform for. But ask yourself this: in a world where we curate our lives for strangers, where we measure our worth in likes and our relationships in content potential, how far is too far? I found the line by crossing it, then burning the bridge behind me. And the man I told I was too hot for, he's room temperature happy with a woman who doesn't know what engagement rate means. Meanwhile, I'm here, finally honest with myself, and it's the coldest I've ever been.